So, I want to talk a little bit about Shabbos. The pasuk says, "The karasa l'Shabbos Oneg." You should call the day of Shabbos. You should call Shabbos an Oneg. What does Oneg mean? The best English word, which is a terrible misrepresentation, is pleasure, because pleasure is a very shallow word. So Shabbos is a pleasure. What is pleasure? What is true pleasure? What is the pleasure of Shabbos? So we're not left in the dark about this. And we have this verse we actually say it during the singing on Shabbos, during Zmiros. HaShabbos noyam haneshamas v'hashvi oneg haruchos v'eden hanafashos. Which means that Shabbos is the pleasure of the neshama, of the soul. The seventh day, Shabbos, is the pleasure of the ruach and the delight of the nefesh. And basically what we're saying here is that it's not a body pleasure, it's a soul pleasure. That's what the true pleasure of Shabbos is. And that's why the true pleasure of Shabbos can only be experienced by a Jewish neshama, by a Jewish soul, because the pleasure is not a body pleasure. So there's a lot of body pleasures on Shabbos, for example. You learn a little bit about Shabbos and you learn about how incredible it is in our fast-paced world to disconnect from work, to disconnect from life, to disconnect from phones and technology, to have a day where we focus on family and relationships. And all this is beautiful, 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 beautiful. This can be experienced by anybody in the world, Jew or non-Jew. I would highly recommend that every person on planet Earth have a day that they disconnect from the hustle of their life and connect to their families and take a day off technology. It's amazing. It's amazing. But the pleasure of the neshama is so much deeper than that. This is barely scratching the surface. Those enjoyments, as awesome as they are, is step one. Step two is the pleasure of the soul. What is pleasure of the soul? If we want to research this topic, we want to know how to give our neshama pleasure, we need to know what pleasures it. We're not going to just, make up things that we think are going to pleasure it, because probably those are going to be body pleasures, which again are incredible, and there's place for physical oneg of gashmias on Shabbos as well. But what makes the neshama happy? What makes the neshama excited? How do we get that? That's going to be our job if we want to really connect to Shabbos, to understand what gets our neshama excited. So I want to read for you a little bit from the Sefer Beyam Darkecha on Shabbos Kodesh that talks about, this is like a really short version, but what is the pleasure of the neshama on Shabbos? So he says that the light of Shabbos, the enjoyment of the neshama on Shabbos, is because on Shabbos is the day that Hashem revealed himself in our world with full clarity. Because during the 6 days of the week of the created world, there's hester, there's concealment of the existence and the reality of Hashem. You know why? Because if you look around at first glance, the world does not scream Hashem. The world screams nature. The world screams teva. The world screams there's an independent reality called nature that's just running things. And it looks like that the world is running itself. That's why he says the word olam, which means world, comes from the word helam, which means hidden. Hidden. The whole world is kind of hiding Hashem 6 days a week. And that's why Hashem gave us Shabbos, because on Shabbos, his reality radiates out from one end of the world until the other, and we have an ability to really feel Ein od milvado, that there is nobody but Hashem. There is no real existence except Hashem. And everything that we see is powered by Hashem. Everything that looks like it has its own reality is only reflecting the power, the energy, the light that Hashem gives through it. And the world can be used to bring out the light of Hashem, and unfortunately it can also be used to conceal the light of Hashem, conceal the reality of Hashem. And now on Shabbos Kodesh, we're able to see that there is no independent power besides Hashem. And the world doesn't have its own existence and its own ability, and there's no such thing as nature and happenstance and coincidence, but rather, Rak Hashem Yisparach Asa V'Osa V'Yasa L'Chol HaMasim. He's the one who's really making everything, be powered and have this existence that it looks like. So that's what the neshama wants more than anything else. The neshama is in a very difficult place in this world. I was learning this idea in the Sefer Beyam the other week. We have an eternal struggle between body and soul. But the problem is that our soul doesn't have the advantage. Our body has what's called in sports the home court advantage, because it is on this world, the physical world. The neshama belongs with Hashem. The neshama is a part of Hashem. So it's very far from its source. So there's always a struggle. And the Sefer Beyam says such strong words, but I felt like a little validated from them. I think it's in a way encouraging that the default is going to be that the body is going to win. The neshama has such an uphill battle, it's going to lose the battle. The only way that the neshama has a chance is because Hashem gave us mitzvahs to remind us of the reality of Hashem and endless opportunities to connect back to that, okay? Mitzvahs is not our topic now, but that's the basic idea of it. So the neshama is at a disadvantage, and the neshama just wants to connect to Hashem. The entire week, the neshama is being dragged around by the body and shown one false illusion after another. Come with me, we're going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to work out, I'm going to show you that it's all about me, that it's about, my ego and what I'm doing, and I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to make money, and I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm going to do that, and everything. The neshama is just being dragged on this terrible journey of look around, there's no God. There is just me and my power and my ability. And then it comes Shabbos, and the neshama is finally, all this flies away, and the neshama and the world can finally see the reality of the oneness of Hashem. And then the neshama says, that is the greatest pleasure the neshama has. Finally, these concealments are gone, and the neshama can connect back to its source. That's the journey of the body and soul during the week. Here's the example. I was thinking about that tonight when I was eating this delicious cholent made by Rabbi Cohn. Rabbi Cohn, we're going to use you as an example. Imagine if I walked through the day and I had Rabbi Cohn right behind me, and I put masking tape over his mouth so he can't say a word. And I walked around, and every single person I met, I said, you're not going to believe it, I had this cholent tonight that this crockpot made. Mwah! The most amazing cholent in the world. This pot managed to put everything together, managed to heat it up, managed to just create the greatest food. It was so delicious. And Rabbi Cohn can't say a word. Can't say a word. And every single person I meet, I say, oh, this crockpot made me such a good cholent. And then finally, he manages to rip the mask off. What might he say? You idiot! You think a crockpot made a cholent? I made the cholent. The crockpot can't. What a silly, dumb illusion to think that this piece of metal has the ability to whip together a cholent. During the week, our neshama is being dragged around and saying, yeah, this is reality, and this is nature, and this is this, and there's nobody up there controlling the world. And finally, on Shabbos, the masking tape is ripped off. The neshama can reconnect to what it is, reconnect to Hashem, and this reality of Hashem is clear. So this begs the question, of course, if this is so simple, why don't we all feel this? When it comes every single Shabbos, why don't we feel this insane bliss of the neshama? We can't say that it's triggered by Shabbos automatically, because if that was the case, then the 15 million Jews all over the world would just be in a different world, a different reality of spiritual pleasure on Shabbos. That's not the reality. Even for people who connect to Torah, connect to mitzvahs, connect to Hashem a lot, they don't necessarily feel this unbelievable Oneg on Shabbos. So what's the reason for that? I saw another idea this week. It quotes the Pasuk in Tehillim. Says, Hashem is my shadow. Hashem is my shadow. What does that mean, Hashem is my shadow? That means that Hashem reflects me. In my Judaism, when I'm connecting to Hashem, Hashem reflects me. The more I take a step forward, the more I tell Hashem, I want to do more, I want to connect to you more, I want to do mitzvahs more, the more Hashem reflects exactly that light, exactly that energy, and says, okay, you want to connect to Shabbos more? Here, you're going to connect to Shabbos more. You want to go beneath the surface, you want to get this deep, amazing joy of the neshama, the more you want to do that, the more you try to do that, Hashem is like an automatic shadow. Right next to you, the shadow is automatic. It's just going to be there, and he's going to follow you. But we have to take the steps towards that. The shadow is only reflects. The shadow is not going to lead us. I heard this other idea. I don't have a source for this, but I thought it talked to me a lot. The idea is very simple. Okay, I'll tell you the Hebrew first. Hishtadlus plus, I don't remember if it was emuna or bitachon, equals 100%. Okay, math formula. The effort you put in plus the faith and belief and trust that you have in Hashem equals what you receive in this world. So if you put in 100% hishtadlus, 100% effort, you're going to work and you're making your money and you're going to, heal yourself and this and that, any struggle you're going with, it's all about the work that you're doing, and you leave Hashem out of the picture, so then you're going to need a whole lot more to try to make steps in it. But the more emunah you have, the more faith and trust you have in Hashem, the less the action that you need to take is. These two together equal what you need. So you may as well focus more on bringing Hashem into it and have your balance of hishtadlus, to what you have to put in, be a balance in your favor. So we need to take a step towards Shabbos, and then we can receive back this unbelievable pleasure of the neshama. The way to do that is to learn about it. The way to do that is to explore how our neshama works, what our neshama wants, how Shabbos can help us, how Shabbos could transform us. But most of all, above anything else, it's about desire. It's about desire. We need to want to come closer to Hashem, and Hashem will reflect that back to us. So it's incredibly important to make this a goal, to make this a focus. I'm going to learn more about Shabbos, how to connect my neshama to what this Shabbos is, because I guarantee you the level of pleasure of Shabbos is unbelievable. It cannot be fathomed. Any enjoyment you have right now can only get better and better and better as we work on what does the neshama need? What does our neshama need? How is our neshama going to feel this bliss? Because that's eternal, permanent, real feelings of connecting Hashem. There's nothing greater than that in the world. And I want to use this opportunity to introduce to everybody that tonight, about half hour ago, I launched a new podcast called the Shabbos Kodesh Podcast. And in this podcast, I'm going through every week, I'm going to be learning from this Sefer Beyam Darkecha, which is the Sefer I've been using to really unlock a whole new level of Shabbos. It's really, really transformational. It is so powerful. I've been trying to learn it and get a group together, and it's not always easy to get together in person. And we all have times that we're preparing for Shabbos. So you can hopefully take one step at a time with me. I'm going to try to release one every week, about 20 minutes while you're preparing for Shabbos. You can listen to this and try to learn a little deeper meaning and connection to Shabbos Kodesh. The website to go to is ShabbosPodcast.com. I made it easy. It's on any podcast platform that you're on, and then some, Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever it is. And outside in the hallway, there's a scanning code. You could scan with your phone to get to there. You can follow it.